Welcome everyone to our Scientist Reverse Grid. Tonight we're here at Silverstone with the Einstein League. Two races ahead tonight. First one, as I've already said, here at Silverstone. The second one, fast tracks, technical tracks, where you're not allowed to do any mistakes, otherwise you're in the grass or gravel or barrier. So we're up for some action-packed and beautiful racing hopefully tonight. As you've already know, the starting grid is formed by the reverse grid format. That means the finisher, the last finisher for our last race, last Friday, will start in P1. Everyone else who DNF'd or didn't even start will start at the back today. It looks very sunny here at Silverstone, so probably no rain, but you never know what the weather will do on this beautiful island called United Kingdom. So let's see what the weather will do here today with all of our drivers. We also got a newcomer in this league. It's Slider Squall, who's starting in the back because he didn't start last week. That means he's at the back for tonight. Dorada, as you can see in his Williams, on pole position. Behind him, Mosher in the McLaren Pro Oliver on P3, followed by Yor, Castor, Corleone, Chappie, Rob, Eskimo, Walter B Racing, Good Nick, Ian, Uncle Ben's Rose, and Slider Squall. That means we have 15 drivers tonight on the grid who are eager to score their first or the next championship points and constructors points to make their team win the championship. Let's have a quick look. If we can change cameras, we can. Beautiful. As always, I'll keep you updated on penalties, on fastest laps, on pit stops, so you have an overview where everybody stands and what it means for their race. We'll also keep a closer look at the ERS standings, so it's a little bit more intense when we follow a car who's getting hunted or is the hunter in a battle. And we also have our full map on, so you can follow your favorite driver on the map to see where he is and keep your fingers crossed for him. We also keep a closer look at the position changes during the race, so we can see who makes the biggest jump out of all the drivers, or who maybe loses a lot of places and doesn't make any ground today. Now we're watching the guys forming up on the grid for the race start. Luckily, no one got disqualified from the formation lap, so everyone has hopefully warmed up tires for the start and the best start possible. Going out right now, but as we know, Codemasters will play tricks on us, and Codemasters never disappoints on that regard. Well, it seems like our drivers are going on the road every second, and the start is now. Moshe seems to have a very good start, but it's just side by side with Dorada into the first corner. Dorada claiming the lead. No one crashed right now. Seems pretty good for the moment. A little tangle between the Haas and the Racing Point here in P9. and P10. But it seems like we have no major crashes or big incidents. That's looking very good. But Doradon, no, we lost Doradon. Doradon's down to P14. He must have lost it because Moshe is in P1. You're his teammate in P2, and Casto is knocking on the door. He's going for P2 on the outside. Moshe using ERS to defend, staying on ERS. He'll possibly regret that in a few laps. He's trying to stay in the lead. As we go around Maggots and Beckets, you're using ERS to defend from Casto, who's not using any ERS, just staying in the slipstream. But Yor's going for the lead. You're on the inside against his teammate Moshe. Made it very clean, made it stick. A beautiful move by Yor. Very aggressive, and he caught Moshe a little bit napping there, I think. Moshe seems to be safe, and Yor just appears on his inside, claiming the lead of the race. And Chappie is pressurizing Casto on the pit straight, right behind him, as Nick is pressurizing Prolova. Nick fighting for P5 here. Prolova in the Renault. Now they're all close behind. It's a very close pack right now. Sorry for not changing to the midfield or the back, but at the front it's so close right now. Very tense to follow here. Casto shine on the outside, braking a little bit later, down to third gear to make it stick. On the inside now, a little touch against Moshe, but didn't seem to be unfair. So just a hard racing incident. Casto up to P2, Moshe P3 under attack from Chappie, who's smelling blood in the water here. P4, Moshe, bad exit out of Cops. Chappie had to back off a little bit, but now he has to be very careful behind a following car, or the following cars have to be very careful in Maggots and Beckets. You can easily lose it here. It seems like Chappie is not up for an attack right now. Nick isn't either, but Nick already got Prolova. He's up to P5. Unfortunately, we lost that on track. Nick gained P5 against Prolova Racing Group already with a penalty on lap 2. Let's keep a closer look at the choice of tires. And we can see that only 2 guys have started on the mediums. Racing Group and Uncle Ben's, both in the Alfa Romeo. So both cars in the same strategy. We'll see how that plays out. And Prolova almost touches the rear of Nick here. Backs out at the right moment, still in the DRS, but has now rocked behind him. Still very close between the top, and Nick is going for an overtake at Chappie, making it stick. Beautiful one, absolutely beautiful. Claiming the inside here, Moshe running wide into the dirt, and Nick sees it. Chappie has a little problem with the throttle here, but Nick is very close behind Moshe right now. He sees an opportunity here. Chappie right behind Nick. Doesn't want to miss an opportunity here if it opens up. Moshe seems to slow down the pack a little bit here in Maggots and Beckets. Has no ERS, has no DRS as we can see. And Nick trying to get Moshe here on the inside after the big straight. Oh, and Chappie is seeing the gap too. He's going for it on the outside for the next section, switching onto the inside, and Moshe running into Nick. Moshe losing an end plate of his front wing here. Chappie forced him into that. Very clever by Chappie. Very bad for Moshe and for Nick, because I think Nick didn't expect Moshe to dive bomb him like that, and Chappie is now going on the inside of Moshe. Moshe has damage to his wing. That means easy game for him, and he will have DRS. In the meantime, 3 cars at the pits. Prolova pitted onto mediums. Racing Group and Doradon both in the pits. Racing Group switching onto softs because he started on the mediums. And as we all know, the softs can go a distance of around 11 to 12 laps around Silverstone. Of course, they will break down a little bit at the end of the race, but that doesn't mean anything. What means everything is the fight for the lead. Casto only 2/10 behind Yor through Maggots and Backets. And the dirty air kicks in. Casto losing 1 to 2/10 here. Got the DRS, got Nick behind him. He has to use some ERS to make the move stick. But Yor is down on ERS. That means Casto can go on the outside. Side by side. No touching right now. Staying on the inside for the next corner. Nick behind is smelling something. Yor taking that wider line to make it fair. And the switchback. The switchback by Casto. He makes it stick. A beautiful move up into P1. Claiming the position against Yor with a beautiful switchback. And Nick is coming at Yor too. Now on the inside. Waiting for his move because he will have DRS. And he saw Yor down on ERS. Nick around 30 to 40% ERS. Slider Squall and Doradon also with penalties right now. Moshe in the pits. And Nick has the advantage of using DRS. Yor too. But can make it stick right now. Casto still in the lead. Has to try to create a gap of around 5 to 6/10 at least. To let Yor stay behind him. Grammar is something different. But let's not forget about Chappie, who's still in P4 and now attacking Nick, surprisingly. Side by side, almost into Maggots and Backets. Oh, and Nick running over the grass. Rob and Walterby in the background fighting. Rob in P5. Walterby up to P5. Rob down to P6. Ian in P7. The Ferrari in the pink sandwich right now. But Walterby with a penalty. And we have some pit stops. Yor and Nick both pitting right now. Going onto the mediums. That's an obvious undercut on the guys in front. So Casto and Chappie have to push as hard as they can and switch onto the mediums on the next lap to cover the strategy call by Nick and Yor. And let's see if Nick and Yor are coming out in clean air right now. Oh, Nick has some front wing damage. That means only Yor will come out of the pits in a few seconds. And we have a safety car. Doradon is out of the race. The safety car is coming out. And the safety car is right in front of Yor right now. That means he's overtaken the safety car. Let's see if that was legal. The game gives you instructions for that. Pro Oliver also did. What is Nick doing? Nick is staying behind the safety car. He has to wait for instructions by his racing engineer to overtake the safety car, and he's allowed to. He did. Racing Group did too. Moshe very slow right now. 13 seconds behind Racing Group. Maybe he still has to respect the delta, but now he's also overtaking the safety car. That means our net leader Casto will pit right now. There's no other choice, no other opportunity. That's the best opportunity you could get. Casto into the pits. Chappie 2. Let's have a closer look at penalties and maybe crashes when it comes to going into the pits. Of course, pit assists are off. That means you have to slow down on your own to enter the pits, and you also have to leave your pit box on your own. It seems like we have no major penalties here. No, we got Moshe with the drive-through. That's very unfortunate. We got a double stack at the Pink Panthers. We got an unsafe release, but fortunately the game doesn't take that too serious. But right now that means Walterby jumped Chappie. Walterby up to P2, Chappie down to P3, Rob in P4, and Yor, who made the undercut, is now almost getting overtaken by the Renault, which is completely illegal, but Yor actually lost out with his undercut because of the safety car. Beautiful timing for Casto and Chappie and Walterby and all the following guys. A very bad timing for Yor. Under normal circumstances, that strategy call would have been very effective, but right now, the big loser out of that pack is Nick. because of his wing damage and the wing change and the safety car right after that. He's down to P10. Keeping a closer look at the penalties means that Waterby has a 3-second time penalty, Slider Squall an 8-second penalty, possibly 3 seconds for cutting or for overshooting a corner, and 5 for entering the pits or crash under the safety car. Mosher with a drive-through, and Racing Good with a 3-second time penalty. Let's also take a look at the tire compound, because that's now very interesting. And we only have Uncle Ben's and Racing Good on softs. Let's see if one or some of the medium guys right now, maybe more in the back, P8 to P14 or P13, decide to pit again behind the safety car, because they don't lose much positions. But if they change onto the softs, they have a massive advantage against all the other guys on the mediums. So let's take a look at this. If someone, yeah, I think there is already someone pitting. Yeah, it's Uncle Ben's. But Uncle Ben's was already on soft, so who knows what's going on there. Slider Squall pitting. He's probably going on the soft tires, but I actually don't understand why Uncle Ben's is in the pits, because he has the softs on and he will get a fresh pair of softs. Oh, he has wing damage, so he must have some front wing damage behind the safety car. That's very unfortunate, and then it's absolutely reasonable to pit behind the safety car right now and select the same tire compound. Slider Squall changing onto the soft. That means our backpack of Racing Good, Uncle Ben's, Slider Squall all on softs. Everybody else is on mediums. Pro Oliver on 3 laps old mediums, because he pitted pretty early. Nick and Yor with 1 lap older mediums, because they did the undercut and ran into the safety car scenario. But that also means it's pretty even, pretty equal at the front. Everybody on fresh mediums, even Pro Oliver on 3 lap of mediums. His tires will last the whole distance, of course, and we will have a sprint race on mediums for the last few laps here at Silverstone. Taking a look at position changes, shows us that Casto gained 4 positions. Chappie and Rob did as well. Walterby with the biggest jump of 8 positions from P10 up to P2. Of course, his disadvantage is that he has a 3-second time penalty, but that doesn't mean that anyone around him won't get it. We'll see about that. York lost 1 position, probably 3. King Eskimo gained 2 positions. Ian gained 5. Nick gained 3, and Moshe, unfortunately, the big loser right now, losing 9 positions from P2 to P11. The safety car will come in this lap. That means Casto is allowed and entitled to dictate the pace for the restart. And he's going right now, making the pace, and there's already a gap of 7.5 tenths between himself and Walter B. So that's a very good restart. Walter B under attack by Chappie. Rob napping a little bit, half a second behind Chappie now. And Nick is up to P7. I think he gained already 2 positions here. Racing Good and Slider Squall in a little battle here. King Eskimo down to P13. He was in P7 where Nick is right now, so whoever knows what happened there. Maybe a little incident. But we got a lot of penalties right now between all these guys. We still got the drive-through for Moshe, and we got 3 seconds for Slider, Racing Good, Corleone and Ian right now. Let's jump in the front, because Chappie is only 3 tenths behind Walter B into Maggots and Beckett's. trying to get a closer line to the apex here on ERS in the slipstream of Walter B. Only 1.5 tenths behind. ERS not anymore, but let's see if he makes the move. He doesn't make the move. He follows Walter B. And that means no changes. The only change that has happened is that Chappie also got a 3-second time penalty. Corleone up to 6 seconds already. Mosher right now in the pits for his drive-through. Chappie still very close behind Walter B. Rob following the pack within DRS range, and Casto has managed to get out of the DRS range to Walter B. Right now he's in that DRS range again, so it's very tricky. It's a chess match between Castro, Walter B and Chappie right now. Castro with 70% ERS left, Walter with 50. Chappie down to already 24, 25. Rob also, so a very close battle here between these 3-4 cars. And Chappie now losing around half a second to Walter B. No ERS enabled right now. Will be enabled on the next lap. Position change between Racing Good and Corleone. Racing Good claiming P9 from Corleone here. And Chappie still very close behind Walter B. Going down to first gear for more rotation in that tight left-hander. Walter B also with DRS on Castle, but around 7 tenths behind. That means no danger for Castor right now. Let's see if Nick can make any progress right now. We won't listen to that, unfortunately. That's absolute pain for everyone's ears. Oh, Proliver with a very bad exit here out of Cops, following Yaw into Maggots and Beckett's. And Chappie's again very close behind Walter B. Only 4 tenths of a second. It seems like Chappie has much more downforce, because he can follow Walter B through Maggots and Beckett's easily and gain time on him. On the straight, it seems like Walter B is the quicker car. And Pro Oliver very close behind Yaw right now. Rob still in P4 defending his position against Yaw. And Nick very close behind Pro Oliver now. Unfortunately, we can't listen to that, because, as I've already said, it's pure pain. But let's see what Nick is doing now. Staying behind Pro Oliver for the moment. Oh, and it seems like Chappie is not any longer the DRS of Walter B, but he still has DRS. It's very close. Oh! Pro Oliver with a lockup into that left-hander, and Nick saying happy days. I got you up to P6 in his Williams. Right now, it's a gap of around 3 seconds from P1 to P7. That's very close, especially considering that we're on the lap 12 of 13 around Silverstone. Now it comes down to ERS management and to DRS that you can use or not use, because this will be the big game changer here, as well as penalties, of course. Take a look at that. Chappie with 6 seconds right now. That means he will go down the order massively. P3 is out of the window for him, unfortunately. As we're now on our last lap, and Walter B is only 0.3 of a second behind Casto. Casto with around 50% ERS. Walter B only around 20, but he has DRS. Let's see if Walter B can show us some magic and making the miracle come true around Silverstone. Still only half a second behind Casto, trying to stay as close as he can behind Casto to overtake him on the long straight. Luckily, it's our closest battle on track as we now come on the straight. DRS used for Walter B. Well, Walter B lost 3/10 there in Maggots and Baggots, and that means Casto is safe. Let's see if Rob can start an overtake here, or action nothing. Right now, it's absolutely nothing they can do. Casto still in P1, attacking the last corners here around Silverstone. Now in the last corner, crossing the line and winning Silverstone. Casto, our winner of Silverstone. Rob and Yor and Nick jumping Walter B and Chappie because of their penalties. Both in P5 and P6. Racing Group up to P7. Pro Oliver P8. Ian P9. Corleone P10. Slider Squad in his debut up to P11. Eskimo P12. And Moshe in P13. Now in his last corners to finish that race with a 5-second time penalty, but that won't change anything. What a race. What a finish. Although we had no massive overtakes at the front, it was very intense to see how the guys have managed their ERS and DRS, because tire management wasn't an issue here with everyone on the mediums after the safety car. Congratulations to our winner of Silverstone, Casto. Beautiful race by him. Rob finishing in P2. You're in P3. Here are our final standings. Casto winning that race in Silverstone, coming from P5 to P1. Rob gaining 6 positions up to P2. You're finishing in P3 on the podium. Nick gaining 8 positions up to P4. Walter B P5. Chappie P6. Racing Group to P7. Pro Oliver from P3 down to P8. Ian gaining 4 positions up to P9. Corleone down to P10. Slider Squall in P11. Eskimo P12. And Moshe finishing in P13. Unfortunately, we lost a few guys on track in Doradon and Uncle Ben's. That means for the next race at Suzuka, they won't start on pole position. It will be Moshe. Both Doradon and Uncle Ben's will start at the back. Thank you for joining the EINSTEIN Scientist Reverse Grid League around Silverstone. We're back in about 5 to 10 minutes for our second race of the night at Suzuka.